Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're tackling Databricks, the platform that's making some serious waves by trying to unify the, let's be honest, often chaotic world of data and AI into one single streamlined system.
So let's just jump right in with a question that I'm sure keeps a lot of tech teams up at night. Why is everything so fragmented? You've got one system for this, another tool for that, and getting them to talk to each other, it's a total nightmare, a massive headache.
Well, that's exactly the problem Databricks is designed to fix. Their whole mission is to slash through that complexity with one single open platform. The idea is to handle the entire data lifecycle, from the raw, messy stuff all the way to deploying some really sophisticated AI models.
Okay, to really get why this is such a game changer, you have to understand the old school approaches. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got the data warehouse. It's awesome for structured reports, super reliable. But man, is it rigid. It's expensive and it hates messy data. Then on the other side, you've got the data lake. It's super flexible. You can dump anything in there. But that's also the problem, right? It can turn into this unreliable data swamp where you can't trust anything you find.
And here's the brilliant part. This is the core idea behind Databricks. They looked at that choice and said, why choose? Instead, they created something new, the Data Lakehouse. It's exactly what it sounds like. An architecture that gives you the best of both worlds. You get the rock-solid reliability of a warehouse, but with the awesome flexibility and scale of a data lake, all in one place.
And this is where that lakehouse idea really shines, because you've got this one unified foundation. You can suddenly run all these different jobs for all your different people on the same platform. We're talking data engineers, data scientists, BI analysts, everyone. They're all working from the same single source of truth. I mean, that's a massive win for collaboration, a total game changer.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? Unified platform, yeah. But how does it actually work? Let's get real and zoom in on a concrete example. We're going to look at how Databricks tackles the heavy lifting of data engineering using a toolset they call Lakeflow.
So Lakeflow is pretty smart. It breaks down what can be a really complex process, building data pipelines, into 3 simple steps. First, you got to get the data in. That's ingest. Next, you have to clean it up and get it ready. That's transform. And last, you need to make the whole thing run automatically. That's orchestrate.
So let's start at the top with ingest. Lakeflow Connect is basically the on-ramp for all your data. Its whole job is to make it super simple to pull data from, well, everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's in a classic database, sitting in cloud storage, or locked away in an app like Salesforce, Connect gets it in.
And what's cool is that it gives you choices. For the easy stuff, the common sources, you can use these simple managed connectors. It's almost no effort. But for the trickier, more custom stuff, you've got standard connectors that give you the power to hook into pretty much anything. Think about the hours of custom coding that saves your team. It's huge.
All right, so your data's in the door. Now what? Now comes the really important part, turning that raw data into something actually useful. And that's where Lakeflow's Spark Declarative Pipelines, or SDP for short, comes into play. It's basically a framework that takes the headache out of all that cleaning, joining, and prepping your data.
And the key word to remember here is declarative. This is so cool. Instead of writing a ton of complex code telling the system how to do every little step, you just declare what you want the end result to be. It's exactly like typing an address into your GPS instead of writing out every single turn. You tell it the what, and Databricks figures out the how. This frees up your developers from worrying about the plumbing so they can focus on what actually matters.
Okay, last step. You've got your data coming in, you've defined how to transform it, now you need someone to conduct the orchestra, right? That's Lakeflow Jobs. It's the tool that puts it all together, letting you schedule, run, and keep an eye on everything to make sure it all happens in the right order exactly when it's supposed to.
And just to be clear, this is way more than some simple scheduler. We're talking about building really sophisticated production-grade workflows. You can define specific tasks, like run this notebook or execute this query, and then use smart logic, like if this happens, then do that, to make your workflows adaptable. This is how you build those automated systems that you can actually rely on.
So we've seen what Lakeflow can do, which is pretty impressive. But what's the engine that's actually making all this happen? What's under the hood? Let's take a peek.
Right at the core of Databricks is a super optimized version of Apache Spark. And if you're in the data world, you know Spark. It's one of the biggest, most powerful open source engines out there for processing massive amounts of data. And here's the kicker. The founders of Databricks are the people who created Spark. So yeah, it's safe to say they know it inside and out.
But they didn't just stop with Spark.
They basically put it on steroids by building their own query engine called Photon. This thing was built from the ground up for one reason: speed. It's a vectorized engine that just crushes queries, giving you these massive performance boosts. And faster often means cheaper when you're talking about the cloud.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've talked about a lot of tech. Lakehouses, Lakeflow, Photon. So what? What's the big takeaway here? What does this all actually mean for you or your company?
All right, if you remember just 3 things, make it these. 1, it's a unified lakehouse. That means one single source of truth for all your data, analytics, and AI. No more silos. 2, it's built on open source. You're standing on the shoulders of giants like Spark and Delta Lake, not locked into some proprietary system. And 3, it's for your entire team. It empowers everyone, engineers, scientists, analysts, to actually work together.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought, one big question to chew on. When you get rid of all that friction, when your team stop wasting time just moving data around and can actually collaborate on one platform, what does that unlock? What becomes possible? What will you build next?